The fastest way to lose your dignity is not through failure. It is through desperation. It never happens in one dramatic moment. It begins with one unnecessary apology, one message that didn't need to be sent, one favor given only to earn approval, one more chance offered to someone who has already shown you exactly how much they value your presence. Little by little, you stop protecting your self-respect and start negotiating for it. By the time you notice what has happened, the person you've been trying to convince isn't the one you've lost. You've lost yourself. Ancient Rome witnessed countless battles, but some of the greatest defeats never happened on a battlefield. They happened inside the human mind. Men who could conquer cities often failed to conquer their own emotions. They begged for loyalty from people who had already betrayed them. They chased approval from crowds that changed their opinions every sunrise. They explained themselves to those who had already decided not to understand. History remembers very few of those men. It remembers the ones who remained steady when everyone else became desperate. Marcus Aurelius ruled an empire surrounded by war, disease, political betrayal, and uncertainty. Every day, people expected him to react emotionally. Every day, critics questioned his decisions. Rivals hoped to see him lose control. Yet if you read his private journal, one pattern becomes impossible to ignore. He never wasted his strength trying to control another person's opinion. His attention remained where real power had always lived, within himself. That lesson has become even more valuable today. People no longer need to stand in front of a crowd to lose their dignity. They can do it with a single message. Someone is ignored for a few hours. Instead of waiting, they send another message, then another, then another. Each one reveals something that words rarely hide. Fear. Not fear of being alone. Fear of not being chosen. The strange part is that every additional attempt usually produces the opposite result. Respect begins disappearing long before the conversation ends. Modern psychology explains why. Human beings naturally value confidence because confidence signals emotional stability. Desperation signals uncertainty. When someone repeatedly seeks reassurance, approval, or attention, other people unconsciously begin seeing them as emotionally dependent rather than emotionally secure. This is why begging almost never creates genuine connection. It creates obligation, and obligation has never been the foundation of lasting respect. Epictetus understood this from personal experience. Before becoming one of history's greatest philosophers, he lived as a slave. Almost everything could be taken from him: his comfort, his freedom, his possessions. But there was one thing no master could own unless he surrendered it willingly: his dignity. Epictetus taught that another person's choices belong to them. Your choices belong to you. The moment your peace depends on another person's decision, you've quietly handed away the only freedom that truly mattered. That idea sounds simple. Living it is another story. Consider an ordinary situation. A relationship begins changing. Replies become shorter. Interest slowly disappears. One person senses the distance and immediately begins trying harder. Long emotional messages, endless explanations, constant reassurance, promises to change. The intention may be sincere. The result is often tragic. Every attempt to hold on communicates one silent message: I don't believe I'm enough unless you stay. That sentence is rarely spoken aloud, yet people feel it. This is why begging weakens character before it weakens relationships. It teaches your own mind that your value depends on another person's decision. The Stoics rejected that belief completely. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself that every human being possesses the ability to choose honorable action, regardless of circumstances. Whether others stayed or left was never the true measure of his worth. His character was. There is an old Roman story about a respected senator whose influence began fading after years in politics. Instead of accepting the natural change, he desperately tried to regain his former status. He organized extravagant feasts. He purchased expensive gifts. He publicly praised powerful men in hopes of earning their favor again. For a short time, people accepted everything he offered, but admiration never returned, because admiration cannot be purchased through desperation. Respect follows strength, not pleading. The same pattern exists today. Someone constantly offers help, hoping to become indispensable. Someone changes their personality just to fit into a group. Someone accepts repeated disrespect because they fear losing a relationship. At first, these choices seem harmless. Over time, they quietly reshape identity. The person stops asking, "What do I believe?" They begin asking, "What do I need to do so they won't leave?" That question becomes an invisible prison. Seneca warned that the greatest form of slavery is not physical. It is becoming dependent on things outside your control. Money, status, approval, affection. The more your happiness depends on another person's choices, the less freedom remains inside your own mind. This is why the first rule of inner strength is never beg. Not because asking for help is wrong, not because vulnerability is weakness, but because there is a profound difference between honest vulnerability and desperate dependence. One comes from courage, the other comes from fear. Life treats them very differently. There is another hidden cost of begging that people rarely notice. It steals opportunity. Energy spent convincing someone to value you is energy that could have been invested in becoming more valuable. Hours spent chasing acceptance could have been spent building skill. Days spent trying to repair one-sided relationships could have been spent creating a meaningful future. While one person keeps looking backward, another quietly moves forward. History almost always rewards the second person. Look closely at nature. The sun never begs the world to notice its light. A mountain never asks for admiration. An oak tree never pleads for respect. Its strength speaks long before words become necessary. Perhaps human beings were meant to live the same way, not demanding recognition, becoming impossible to ignore through quiet character. That is where genuine confidence begins, not when everyone accepts you, when you finally accept that your worth was never theirs to decide. But there is another mistake that destroys even more lives than begging. It convinces people that if they just try harder, they can force what was never meant to stay. That mistake is chasing. At first, it doesn't look dangerous. It looks like determination, persistence, loyalty, hope. But there comes a point where determination quietly transforms into desperation. The line between the two is almost invisible. One is driven by purpose. The other is driven by fear. The person chasing rarely notices when they cross it. Marcus Aurelius spent his life surrounded by uncertainty. Armies could betray him. Friends could disappoint him. Citizens could praise him one day and condemn him the next. Yet he constantly reminded himself of one principle that protected his peace. You cannot command another person's mind. You can only command your own. That truth becomes painful when applied to relationships. Someone decides to leave. Someone loses interest. Someone chooses another path. The immediate instinct is to chase. One more conversation, one more explanation, one more chance, one more sacrifice. But every step taken in desperation quietly moves you further away from yourself. Human psychology explains why this happens. The brain dislikes unfinished stories. When something ends without the closure we expected, our attention becomes trapped. We replay conversations, search for hidden meanings, and convince ourselves that one final effort will somehow change the outcome. Sometimes closure isn't missing. Acceptance is Epictetus challenged his students with a difficult question. What truly belongs to you? Not another person's affection, not their loyalty, not their decisions, only your own character, your own actions, and your own judgment. Everything else is borrowed. The moment you understand this, chasing begins to lose its power. There is an old Roman story of a general who lost an important political alliance. His advisors urged him to beg for forgiveness and promise anything necessary to keep the relationship alive. Instead, he quietly returned to his work. He strengthened his army, improved his leadership, served his people with greater discipline than before. Years later, the very men who ignored him came seeking his support. He never chased them. His character brought them back. Life has a strange habit. People often respect what refuses to abandon itself. This doesn't mean becoming cold or pretending not to care. It means refusing to sacrifice your dignity in exchange for temporary attention. There is another habit that quietly weakens people, explaining themselves to everyone. A rumor begins. Someone misunderstands your intentions. A stranger criticizes your decisions. The immediate urge is to defend yourself, to prove your innocence, to convince everyone that they are wrong. But there is a hidden danger in constant explanation. It silently teaches your mind that your peace depends on universal approval. Seneca warned that no person can satisfy every opinion because opinions constantly change. If your happiness depends on changing every mind you encounter, your happiness will never belong to you. Modern psychology reaches a similar conclusion. People tend to interpret information in ways that confirm what they already believe. This is known as confirmation bias. Once someone has decided who you are, endless explanations often strengthen their original belief instead of changing it.